His Excellency Mr. Arif Havas Oegroseno, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Dr. Indra Hermono, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Malaysia. His Excellency Mr. Abdel Hafid Bonor, the Ambassador of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. His Excellency Mr. Rashid Muhammad Al Saleh, the Ambassador of Kuwait. His Excellency Mr. Akitela R.J. Moru, the High Commissioner of Kenya. His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Khurshid A. Kashtagir, Minister and Deputy High Commissioner of Bangladesh. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Shamsul Iskandar, Senior Political Secretary to Prime Minister of Malaysia, senior officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia, Madani Research Centre, Prime Minister's Office, senior MSU staff, faculties, invited guests, students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the Global Madani Interact Muafakat Indonesia-Malaysia for Economic Growth and Security Stability of ASEAN in the Digital Age Era. My name is Anita Zara Weinheimer, and I'm honored to be your MC for today. It is a privilege to be gathered here, bridging cultures and ideas as we engage in meaningful discussions that will inspire, educate, and connect us on a global level. We appreciate your time and commitment to being a part of this insightful exchange. Without further ado, may I now invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Rosli Yusof, Senior Vice President for Endowment and Communication, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia Datuk.
Please excuse me, the salutation list is very long. It might take half a day. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon. His Excellency Arif Havas Oegroseno, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Shamsul Iskandar, Senior Political Secretary to the Prime Minister of Malaysia. His Excellency Datuk Indra Hermono, the Indonesian Ambassador to Malaysia. His Excellency Abdel Hafid Bonor, the Ambassador of Algeria to Malaysia. His Excellency Akitla R.J. Moru, the High Commissioner of Kenya to Malaysia. His Excellency Rashid Muhammad Al Saleh, the Kuwaiti Ambassador to Malaysia. I'm not sure if His Excellency has arrived. Should be anytime soon. His Excellency Muhammad Khurshid Kashtagir, Minister and Deputy High Commissioner for the People's Republic of Bangladesh to Malaysia. Staff of Madani Research Centre, senior management team members of Management and Science University, distinguished guests, faculties and students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Global Madani Interact event hosted by the Management and Science University. It is our privilege to see everyone in campus today. On behalf of Professor Muhammad Shukri Abdul Yajid, the President and Founder of the University, I am pleased to convey his warmest regards. Professor Shukri is currently in Japan for the university's internationalization commitment. A very warm welcome to His Excellency Arif Havas Oegroseno, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia. Thank you, sir, for your presence today despite your demanding schedule while in Malaysia. On a much heartfelt note, may I, on behalf of the entire MSU community, take this opportunity to convey our salam takziah to you, Your Excellency, on the passing of your beloved mother recently, Al-Fatiha, and may the departed soul be placed among the righteous and those who are much loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ladies and gentlemen, incidentally, today's event has plenty of similarities to MSU's monthly Global Talk series. The Global Talk series is a platform through which we have distinguished personalities engaging with the students and faculties, sharing their insights on wide-ranging issues from geopolitics, economics, and finance to sustainability and climate change. Indeed, today's event is of no lesser importance. His Excellency, the Vice Minister, will share his thoughts on Muafakat Indonesia-Malaysia for economic growth and security stability of ASEAN in the digital age. I believe the topic is timely and it reflects the special bond that Malaysia and Indonesia enjoy over many decades. Our utmost appreciation to the Prime Minister Office, the Madani Research Centre, in particular Encik Muhammad Azmi, the CEO, the Global Madani Awards for the opportunity to host today's edition of the Global Madani Interact. We look forward to the opportunity at hosting similar events in the future, inshallah. I hope all present will find the talk illuminating with plenty of key takeaways. Once again, a million thanks to His Excellency Arif Havas Oegroseno for his presence. Last but not the very least, may your experiences today be a most fruitful one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk. Moving on, may I now invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Shamsul Iskandar, Senior Political Secretary to Prime Minister of Malaysia, to come to the rostrum and deliver the opening speech. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good evening. Salam sejahtera. Salam Malaysia Madani. Salam Muafakat ASEAN. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Dr. Rosli, for a very warm welcome. His Excellency Pak Arif, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Indonesia, Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed academics, members of diplomatic corps, and friends of ASEAN. It is an honor for me to welcome all of you to this distinguished public lecture series under the Global Madani Interact that brings together esteemed global experts to engage in profound discussions on the pivotal issues shaping the future of our region and the world. The Global Madani Interact runs parallel with the Global Madani Awards, launched in January 2024, which showcases Malaysia Madani on the international setting, on the international stage. The awards have one clear objective: to value and record our appreciation to those who have contributed immensely to the execution of the 6 pillars of the Malaysia Madani. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Management and Science University for agreeing to host Global Madani Interact at this beautiful and very presentable hall. Today we discuss the Muafakat Indonesia-Malaysia for economic growth and security stability of ASEAN in a digital age. And this is a topic of great importance, not just for our two nations, but for the collective future of ASEAN as we navigate the complexities of an increasingly digital and interconnected world. Indonesia and Malaysia share a deep historical, cultural, and economic bond. As two of ASEAN's leading economies and political pillars, our collaboration is fundamental in shaping regional progress. The muafakat between our nations must be one of shared prosperity, mutual respect, and strategic coordination, ensuring that we harness the full potential of economic digitalization, technological innovation, and regional security mechanisms. The digital transformation presents vast opportunities for economic expansion. From fintech, and AI-driven industries to the digital economy and green technology, ASEAN must ensure that its regulatory framework support inclusive growth while enabling businesses and entrepreneurs to thrive. Cross-border e-commerce platforms such as Shopee, Lazada, Tokopedia are driving economic integration, while the rise of fintech and digital payment systems such as Malaysia's Touch and Go and Indonesia's GoPay exemplifies the potential for seamless economic transactions across ASEAN. Indonesia and Malaysia, as economic partners, must foster digital literacy, innovation, and interconnectivity across ASEAN, ensuring that no nation or community is left behind in this transition. Initiatives like the ASEAN Smart Cities Network, digital trade agreements, supply chain resilience in key industries, including semiconductors, palm oil, and electric vehicle batteries will be key to strengthening our economic foundations. Joint investment in startups and emerging technologies will further boost regional competitiveness in the digital economy. Economic prosperity cannot be sustained without stability, security, and strategic resilience. ASEAN, therefore, must stand united in addressing emerging cyber threats, digital espionage, and geopolitical challenges that could undermine regional progress. The rise of misinformation, disinformation, digital propaganda necessitates stronger media literacy programs and regulatory mechanisms to combat fake news and disinformation. Our muafakat must extend beyond economic collaboration to include enhanced cybersecurity, counterterrorism efforts, and of course, maritime security in the Indo-Pacific region. Maritime is a subject that very dear to Pak Arif. You can hear some of his opinions later. In this regard, Indonesia and Malaysia must deepen intelligence sharing mechanisms, enhance cyber defense capabilities, and strengthen our joint maritime security initiatives to protect vital trade routes, particularly the Malacca Strait. Defense technology collaboration, including advancement in AI-driven defense systems and drone technology, will be crucial in ensuring regional stability. As we discuss security and, of course, stability, of course, we cannot ignore the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, which underscores the importance of regional solidarity and coordinated action in global affairs. The plight of the Palestinian people is a stark reminder of how economic deprivation and security instability are deeply interconnected. As strong advocates for peace and justice, Indonesia and Malaysia must not only support humanitarian efforts, but also leverage on ASEAN's diplomatic influence to promote lasting peace. And this shared commitment to humanitarian values further strengthens our muafakat, proving that economic and security cooperation must extend beyond ASEAN's borders. As Malaysia now assumes the ASEAN chairmanship under Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ibrahim, we must then place ASEAN on the path of a just, inclusive, and sustainable regional order. The Madani framework, therefore, anchored on human dignity, sustainability, prosperity, innovation, and of course, mutual respect, will be central in shaping ASEAN's response to digitalization, ASEAN's response to economic cooperation, and of course, security challenges. Under Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ibrahim's leadership, ASEAN can expect, inter alia, first, stronger people-centric policies, ensuring economic policies prioritize equitable growth, digital inclusivity, and youth empowerment across ASEAN. Second, enhance digital and technological cooperation, strengthening cybersecurity laws, AI governance, and digital trade agreements to support seamless digital economic expansion. And third, a resilient and united ASEAN security front, reinforcing regional peace efforts, maritime diplomacy, and collaborative security initiatives to counter cyber threats, misinformation, and regional instability. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, the future of ASEAN then depends on our ability to adapt, innovate, and collaborate. muafakat between Malaysia and Indonesia must serve as a cornerstone for regional strength. And with Prime Minister Anwar at the helm of ASEAN, we must champion economic justice, digital transformation, and security stability. I look forward to the insights and discussions today, and I thank you, Pak Arif, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's the most experienced diplomat, I think, partly in this region, and he came and visited us. Of course, we need to explore his minds, and of course, this is really invaluable participation, and let us give him a very big round of applause. Gunung tinggi, laut kebiruan, bersatu hati mencapai cita. Malaysia, Indonesia, satu tujuan, keamanan dan kemajuan kecapi bersama. For our diplomatic cause, I'll translate to you later. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker. Allow me a few minutes to read out his bio note. His Excellency Mr. Arif Havas Oegroseno currently serves as Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs in the current cabinet after being inaugurated by President Prabowo Subianto on 21st October 2024. He completed his tenure as Indonesia's ambassador to Germany in late 2024, having been appointed in February 2018. Before this, he served as Vice Minister at the Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs and Investment from 2015 to 2018 and was Indonesia's ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg, and the European Union from 2010 to 2015. At the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he held key positions, including Director General for Law and International Treaties from 2008 to 2010. In 2010, he became the first Indonesian to preside over the UNCLOS conference at the UN. His diplomatic career, spanning over 30 years since 1987, included assignments in Geneva and Lisbon. He played a crucial role in maritime boundary negotiations, trade agreements, and sustainable development. A key figure behind Indonesia's ocean policy, he also pioneered the Archipelagic and Island State AIS Forum, strengthening Indonesia's leadership in maritime affairs. As a graduate of Harvard Law School and Universitas Diponegoro, he has attended various international training programs, including those at Harvard and the World Bank. He received prestigious honors, including the Commander in the Order of Leopold of Belgium and honorary knighthoods from 2 Belgian cities. His Excellency Mr. Arif Havas Oegroseno is an active academic serving on the international panel of the Centre for the International Law and US and the Executive Committee of the Asian Society of International Law. He lectures globally, including at Rhodes Academy, Cambridge, University of Virginia, and leading Indonesian, American, and European universities. A frequent speaker at international conferences, he co-keynoted the 60th anniversary of the International Law Commission at the UN. He contributes to national and global media and has published extensively on maritime law. On his free time, he enjoys swimming and cycling. Ladies and gentlemen, today His Excellency will be sharing valuable insights on the title, Muafakat Indonesia-Malaysia for Economic Growth and Security Stability of ASEAN in the Digital Age Era, offering perspectives that are sure to spark thoughtful discussions and insights, particularly in the field of economics. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to invite His Excellency Mr. Arif Havas Oegroseno. Sir, the podium is yours.
No pressure. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dato Rusli Yusuf, Senior VP of MSU, I would like to also address Dato Sri Shamsul Iskandar. I'm very glad and very honored to be invited to be here with you and also with the students here. Colleague ambassadors, excellencies, also colleague from the Madani Research Centers, and also my dear friend Pak Dubes Hermono, and also colleague from the students here. I saw a lot of Indonesian students just now, and also colleague, of course, from Malaysia. I would like to start with the current geopolitical situations today in the world. Terima kasih. Thank you. There are four elements I would like to start with. The first one is the geopolitical landscape, geostrategic landscape in the world. The second one, the geoeconomic dynamics and landscape in the world today. Number three, the rise of techno-geopolitics today. And number four, this is my own theory, the rise of digital lords, the rise of digital kings. The first element on the geopolitical landscape. If you look around the world today, we have countries with different military power, different geopolitical influence, but the only one in the world, whether we like it or not, that has the highest military budget, that has the highest military capacity, that has the widest reach in terms of the presence of their military around the world. The number of the treaty that they sign on military is United States of America. It's the only country in the world that can deploy troops anywhere in the world less than 12 hours. Other could not come even close. Okay, so that is essentially a unilateralistic world in the terms of geopolitics, in terms of strategic, in terms of military capacity in the world today. It is still the United States of America. You can say that in geopolitics there is a multilateralism, but unfortunately in real life it's United States of America. So that's number one. And number two, the dynamics of geoeconomics. Basically it's multilaterals. You have ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, you have the RCEP, you have the Mercosur in Latin America, you have the GCC in the Middle East, you have the African Union, you have the West African, you have the Eastern African, you have the European Union, you have the non-EU, the EFTA, you have the Shanghai Cooperation. So it's very multilateralism. And in the past means during Biden era, we do not see the force of geopolitics and military power to the multilateral economic setting, which now we start to see under the Trump era. Although at bilateral level, U.S. versus Mexico, U.S. versus Canada, which is they belong to one economic bloc by themselves. So there is already a use of political military muscles on other countries for economic purposes, but not yet global. The rise of techno-geopolitics. What I mean is that if we look in the Second World War, after Second World War, we have the Cold War. And during the Cold War, we only have two camps, the Soviet Union, who are selling communism, and you have the US and the Western Ally, who are basically selling democracy and liberal political systems. They don't sell products, they sell ideologies. The Soviets are going around the world, you have their allies, ideological allies, and even the Soviet did not share same type of communism with China at the time. And the US and the West are selling the democracy, liberal democracy. So if if you look at even at the movie, for instance, you see the movies about spies, about Cold Wars, about spies in Berlin, about spies in Europe, about spies everywhere in the world. But it's about spies between two ideological blocs. They have no in common about technology. There is nothing in common about the economy. So just selling an ideology. But today, US and China, they are not competing on ideology. They are selling products, selling services. And one of the elements that we can see today is the Huawei, for instance, direct impact of geopolitical competitions and technology. You have TikTok, and you have DeepSeek now. So it's very clear that there is a link between the geopolitical aspect, unilateralistic approach, and the technology. So, and then you mix it up with the economy, and then you get even murkier world. The fourth one is the rise of the digital kings or digital lords. So the big tech, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla. There is a couple of theory going around, and one that I really like is that, so in the old days, power come from God, goes through the kings, feudals powers. The power comes from the land. Everybody just ran or given the right to use the land by the kings. And then you have the industrial revolutions. So the one who get rich is not those who own lands, but those who have technologies. They have technologies, they get rich, they do trade, they commerce. Even in the old day in the UK, the merchant class, they are not lords, they are not kings, they're not part of that. They are rich, they have a lot of money, but they are not in part of that league, if you will. And then they become very rich. And then you continue the development of today. I think the marker is the industrial revolutions and the electricity. And that creates what the economy today. And then you have the digital lords. Amazon, for instance. Amazon is selling a space for you to rent, to sell your products. You pay them 40%. And they're basically like the kings in the old days, where the king gives the land. They have a digital land, a digital cloud. And then on that basis, you do renting of their services. And not only that, they are establishing or developing a new technology that basically is behavior modifications. Look at Alexa. So you have Alexa, you tell Alexa what to do, then Alexa reads you and analyzes you. You keep doing back and forth. So you train Alexa to train you, to train Alexa to train you, and then finally, everything that you know in your life is known by Alexa. And Alexa is owned by Jeff Bezos. So all the data that you have provided willingly is there in the cloud. So they don't want to pay taxes. There are a number of litigations against the big tech in EU. There is a litigations against them even in the US. So you have all these different digital technology lords, if you will, who are not listening to the governments. And you see what happened with Elon Musk, where now he is in the government, he is doing all the efficiency, they cut USA, they do all of this so-called efficiency. Now I heard that there will be no Ministry of Education in the US, for instance. They want to cut all the funding. So this is the different elements in today's situation. So we have geopolitical landscape, which is unilateral. You have a geoeconomic dynamic, which is multilateral, but increasingly you have some political pressure on that. And then you have the rise of the techno-geopolitics, the link between competition at global level and technology. And you have the rise of digital lords, those big tech who don't listen to the government, and the government cannot control them. So this is the setting that we are living today. So in this context, what can countries do? What can, say, Indonesia and Malaysia do in this context? It is not very easy because there are a lot of discussions in Asia, in East Asia, Southeast Asia, also in Europe even. The questions that if there are increasing geopolitical competition between US and China, whether ASEAN or Indonesia or Malaysia should choose which country. So which sides you are on. Are you with us or you are against us? This is the questions that I've heard a lot. When I was in Europe, the questions directed against to me was always when there is a sharpened geopolitical conflict in Asia, whose country that Indonesia will support, US or China? Our reply normally is that that is not the right questions. The right question would be, all these big powers, they have already a treaty with ASEAN, the TAC, Treaty of Amity and Cooperation. So the right question is, according to me, is that whether or not those countries still honor their legal commitments towards ASEAN via the TAC. So it's not that we are forced to choose, but we ask them, are you still on board with us? Are you still on the same page with us? Are you still a country who honors international treaty with us or not? So that is the question that we should ask to those big power in the region. Now, there is one thing that I look around the world that have a very strong impact on security, stability, and economic situations, which is basically the homework of each individual country in the region. I want to give you a very extreme picture. What if there is a fight among provinces in Indonesia, like in different parts of the world? What if there is a war between Indonesia and Malaysia across Straits of Malacca? What if there is a war between different people in the Straits of Singapore, for instance? The impact will be unbelievable across the world. There will be no safety navigations in Straits of Malacca and Straits of Singapore. So the fact that ASEAN countries, the key ASEAN countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, for instance, we are economically very strong, politically very stable, security as well, we are very stable. It is in and out of itself, it's a contribution to the global security. Because sometimes I'm asked in Europe, Ambassador, what did you do? What did Indonesia do? What is in ASEAN's contributions? It seems to be nothing going on. I said, in regional organization, boring is good. Right? We are so good that we have nothing to do. No dispute among us, which is great. Imagine the other way around. If we have wars around provinces in Sumatra, among Sumatran, or Sumatran against Sumatran, Sumatrans against Malay, in the Straits of Malacca. So that means ASEAN, by remaining economically robust, by remaining politically stable, is actually a contribution in itself. You don't need to have some new ideas. It's important, of course, in terms of trying to solve the world's problems. But I would say that the responsibility of the regions on the problem in the regions, it stands with the countries in the regions. So yes, Security Council comes in, but it is the countries in the region themselves that needs to bear that burden. So I think in this regard is also to follow up that Shamsul mentioned about the importance of the strengthening relations between Indonesia and Malaysia in many aspects, and today in digital world. I'm looking at, of course, number one, if we all maintain our economy today as it is today, the political stability today, the security stability today, I think that's already a contribution, strong contribution to the region. It's number one. But we want to do more than that, right? We want to develop in a different era and different area. So I will start with semiconductor, the digital age. Digital age has two elements, of course, the hardware, which is semiconductors, and the software itself, which is the program, digital development, e-commerce, and stuff like that. Malaysia's semiconductor industry is very strong. ASEAN also have a very strong digital economy. Today, the number is around $260 billion US. That is a lot of money, and I'll give you a scale how big it is. German exports to China is $120 billion. The EU export to China is around $600 billion. Our digital economy only in ASEAN is $262 billion US. So twice as the export of the Germans to China. And Germans are selling cars and manufacturing products, but this is what the fact that happened in our region. And we need to tap these resources. So Indonesia is now the largest in terms of digital economy. Nanto is we sit at $90 billion US. But I believe this number will continue ASEAN-wise. We will continue to be more than just $262 billion US. So in 2030, we are looking at trillion of our digital economy. It consists of e-commerce, fintech, you mentioned that before, media, services, even food delivery, things like that. It's something that we have a very strong power in that area. And if you look at the global analysis, Southeast Asia is always the future of the economy because one of them is that. Now, how do we combine this? A couple of ideas. Number one is the supply chain integrations. So Indonesia has the raw materials. We have nickel, we have cobalt, we have silica sand. Malaysia also have a lot of critical raw minerals. Malaysia wants to do your own semiconductors in the future. For colleagues who are not yet aware of what it is, I want to share with you my experience when I was posted in Germany. So basically, the industry of semiconductor is like this. There is a sand somewhere around the world. They took the sand and they make a plate, like a plastic plate, a silicon plate, right? And then they make the chips with the plate and they put the chips on the plate. They cut little pieces and they send it to Malaysia, testing, doing different elements. And then they send to Bintam, another testing, another packaging. So both Malaysia and Indonesia is what we call the back end, whereas in Germany, what they call the front end. The geopolitical situations today creates a thinking of people going out from China, even people going out of Taiwan, in terms of the manufacturing of chips themselves. So they're trying to find a space and a place, a safe one, where they can manufacture the actual chips. And then if we can harness this, Indonesia has the raw minerals, you have the semiconductors, we have the strong digital economy, we have a very strong abundant human resources in terms of students. This is something that we can develop. This is a long-term stuff. We are looking at this at 5, 10 years in the future. Join R&D in terms of digital economy. DeepSeek is very interesting because DeepSeek is basically open source. It's not a proprietary technology. So if for instance, there is a competition or contest, among Indonesian and Malaysian developers, with some funding to develop some kind of AI, some kind of a DeepSeek, Nusantara style, probably. This is just a wild thinking. And if the Chinese was right, they say about $5 million US dollar, which is probably true, I don't know. Or, something is worth looking at it. Because it's an open source technology. I was asked whether this will influence the big tech. No, it's not. The big tech, Amazon and the like, they work on proprietary technology. The technology is protected by the patents. Okay, they are selling Alexa and the whole ecosystem. Apple is the whole ecosystem. Watches, Mac, the whole ecosystem is protected in a loop by law and by lawyers. And the AI is open source. So if China can do DeepSeek, probably it's a time for us to think, why can't we do the same thing? Because in open source technology, it's not a closed technology. Cross-border e-commerce. Dato mentioned about the payment system. This is something that we can organize, probably within the Malaysian chairmanships of ASEAN. We can do a cross-border e-commerce payments that can work together, which actually, if we can do e-commerce payment system within the ASEAN with our own currency, that would create for our own economy. So it does not have to go to dollars. It's not that we are in favor of de-dollarization, but the fact of the matter is that we have signed agreement with Japan, ASEAN, with Korea to do loan and payment based on our own currency. Within the ASEAN, we pay with our own currency. So probably, Dato Rosli, in terms of management, this is something that you can also do some research together with different universities, with Indonesian universities, to try to find whether this will be something that we could prefer in the future. We have bad experience. Indonesian economic crisis in 1998. We could not pay our debt in dollars. And I was in Geneva, first assignment. I lost all my savings because suddenly rupiah from $1 to almost 2,000 rupiah become $1 to 20,000 rupiah. Just like that. Boom, gone. And we were forced to take the loan from the IMF. Dollar and rupiah was basically worthless. Banks are closed. Our industry before 98 was 28% of our GDP. Today it's only 18%. Of that 98 crisis, this number never returned. So this is something that I also want to share with you here, that industry is a backbone, is very important. Maintain your industry. Make it at least 20%, better 28, better than 30%, because industry creates jobs directly. And this is hard stuff. Finance is okay, it's fine. Digital life is good, it's great. But you need to have that industry in your country. Digital innovation hubs, joint ventures, digital infrastructure development, broadband, 5G, cloud computing infrastructures. Again, geopolitics play a very important role. People are moving the data to somewhere safe. So this is something that we can probably have a look in our regions. Data protections and privacy, cybersecurity framework, and joint development on financial products. This is something that we can also have a look. A discussion among different players, the Monetary Authority of Malaysia, of Indonesia, of ASEAN can sit and discuss this together. And of course, regulatory alignment. This is very key issue in terms of digital age. So I think these are some of ideas that probably could become an element of cooperations between Indonesia and Malaysia that will create jobs, spur the economy, create a strong growth, have a political stability in the nations, through the digital age in which way, in this way that we can. Because I'm not seeing a similar setup and landscape in different parts of the world. I mean, you have 650 million people, 5% economic growth, strong digital economy, strong semiconductor hardware. I mean, where else we see this? Only in the US, right? Japan is getting old. Europe is very, very, very old. Korea is not very clear. Taiwan is in a geopolitical mix. Here we are. So this needs to be leveraged within ourselves so that it will create more jobs, it will more certainty. But again, the regulatory environment will be very, very important. So I think in closing, Excellencies, Dato', Indonesia and Malaysia, we must collaborate to leverage our number one positions, very strategic positions, Indonesia and Malaysia, strength in our economy, strength in our political stability, and also strength in our digital world. And coincidentally, we have the raw minerals. I mean, we have everything. And we need to leverage this. And this is something that I have not seen yet, to be frank. Okay, try to connect all the dots, different dots in one thinking that we can go in the future of self-sufficiency in digital age. So once again, terima kasih. But because this is not just lecture, Dato', I can take one or two questions. Hopefully difficult ones. Or please, silakan. Satu, dua. Okay. Silakan, please. Yes.
This. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In order for us to achieve to that position, we need to have what we call mutual say in terms of how we want to do the enforcement kind of things, how we want to mix and match the meeting the point A, point B between the legislation between Malaysia and Indonesia. So I would like to see your opinion for that, Mr.
A regulatory environment, the regulatory alignment, if we will, because the term regulatory harmonization is very sensitive, because then you're saying that the Malaysian Parliament should be harmonized with Indonesian Parliament. No, it's not. But I think if we can organize ourselves with some alignment of regulations on digital matters, then I think that would be great. Because I believe the elements are the same, the challenges are the same. Just to decide what are the elements in each regulatory alignment that is good. I was long time ago negotiating extradition treaty with Singapore. It's not easy. But then we managed it, okay, after so many years. And then after that, we had a discussion, why don't we have the ASEAN extradition treaty? This is not digital world, but this is even more difficult than digital world. Yeah. We have similarity of elements. We work on the simplest part first. So what is, for instance, the element of crime, Like you mentioned, what are the definition, right? So whether doing this APNC is a crime in Malaysia, in Singapore, Indonesia, if we agree, okay, this is one element. We go on element by element. The one that we have gray area or we disagree, we can put it somewhere else. But a similar approach can be done on this issue, regulatory alignment. This is also what I see in Europe. As much as we don't like EU teaching us on sustainability, you should check my YouTube with Deutsche Welle on Europe and sustainability. But they have this. We are not at that level yet in ASEAN. But at least what we can do is try to look at the elements. But you as a person who understands the issue, you should meet with other colleagues in ASEAN, brainstorm as the chair of ASEAN, Malaysia, and try to find this. It's not going to happen in 1 year, but at least under Malaysian chairmanship, you can start the discussion, you can put on the paper, you can look at the elements, and then we need to work together on this, because the digital economy of ASEAN is unbelievable. And unbelievable in both ways. The number is so staggering, and number two, it's not known. I have to do a lot of campaign in different cities in Germany with ASEAN ambassadors, just to tell them that we are also good. Just to tell them that we can also make money, man. It's not easy, because in Europe, what they talk about digital world is Silicon Valley. Maybe China, maybe Japan, but never Southeast Asia. So we organized, for instance, the Asia Berlin Digital Week, and the ambassadors brought in people from the capital of ASEAN to be there. So, yeah. Yeah. We have to overcome that. Yeah, I mean, he has to overcome that. Another problem for you. I'm just a vice minister, I can outsource my problem and give it to Pa Mirza or someone else. Yes. Yeah.
Action on his part may spread to the other parts of the world as well?
Yeah, we are looking at, I think we have to look at the whole trend, Dato'. The whole trend is uncertainty. So we want to slap 25% tariff against Mexico and Canada, and then it stops. We want to slap China 10%, still continue. And then suddenly we want to slap 25% on steel. We export steel to the U.S., so we will be one of the countries who got slapped 25%. Other, Canada, Brazil, Japan, South Korea, and we are not so sure whether tariff is just for the sake of tariff, or is it tariff for means of negotiations. I'll give you my take. I'm not an economist, so this is basically coming out of the blue with no economic evidence whatsoever. So when a country wants to have high tariff and force its own company who are investing outside to return home, say the U.S., what happens is that this company will be scared and they will go home to the U.S. And when they go home to the U.S., they bring their money. So if they bring their money, it means their money is flowing into the U.S., so dollar become expensive. If the dollar is expensive, how can you export? So the first impact of tariff is that. There is a very interesting story. Henry Kissinger, once upon a time, he he commissioned around 30 experts, professors, to give him a half page of analysis, just half page. Okay. The question is simple. What should we, the U.S., do to regain our economy after the war? So of all the papers, half papers, he scrapped them, all of them, except one guy. The proposal was that the U.S. should maintain deficit as much as possible, but paid by the other country by printing U.S. dollar. So cheap U.S. dollars mean we pay for the deficits. And now they want to make a strong dollar inadvertently, right? They want to close the deficit. It means you have a strong economy and strong dollar. If you have a strong dollar, you have manufacturing. Where are you going to sell them? So not clear. If you can check with your colleague in the management on the silly economic theory that I just dispersed, but that's more or less the idea. So we are not so sure, okay? And that's why everybody is intense, very much looking at what is the next step. That means uncertainty. And you just have to check with the stock market what the uncertainty means to the U.S., to the global economy. So I think also in this context, it is important that we in the ASEAN try to find ways and means to have a regional resilience in the economy. We have to develop a deeper economic relations, trade in our own currency within the ASEAN, maybe with the other countries in the region, so that we are more or less immune, for the ups and downs of U.S. dollar. Because as a diplomat living abroad, our income is very much depend on the transfer that capital send. And one day we are rich, one day we're very poor because of these exchanges. So it's I think ambassadors understand. That's why he's laughing. that's what happened. Yeah. So I think Dato' Rusli, uncertainty is very, very unfortunate, and we need certainty in this kind of a global climate today. So while we are waiting for certainty, that's why ASEAN should do something. Something innovative within our own regions, to create a resilience ourselves. I cannot answer your question, Dato', unfortunately. Hang on, there's one person who's been waiting. Silakan, Bapak.
I think the audience are asking you easy questions because this is subject matter in your fingertips. So I'm going to sway a little bit of discussion this afternoon as you're looking at numbers and Asian specifics. We are excited in digital economy, and you cited about 270 billion and so forth. If I just may highlight, there's another economy which is called the silver economy, Arif. Currently, in Asia Pacific, is valued at 4.2 trillion, serving 620 million population at least. As Indonesia is aging, also Malaysia is aging, Pak Hermono soon will go back to Indonesia, part of Lansia.
It's just a hair part.
Yeah.
The hair painted. They wanted to look wise,
Yeah, exactly. No, but the thing is, we must also look at, in an aging population, as our workforce age, it will also affect our GDP. In Indonesia, it will affect your GDP annually from 0.5 to 0.7%. Some studies, maybe Dato' Shamsul may not agree with me, that our GDP will go down from 4.2 the next decade to even 2.0 because we have an aging population.
Yeah.
And this is something that even the two muafakat countries have to look within.
Yeah.
Besides, our global challenges that we are facing. Something within may not be your purview, but slightly more challenging. What do you think?
I look at an experience in Europe, for instance. Germany increased the retirement age from 60 to 65, now 67, going to 70. In France, they want to make it 64, and they have the massive demonstrations. They don't like to work in France, no? Ambassador, you understand very well. So, so it's one of the big challenges. Yeah. Not only that, actually, where the aging society plus the services of the aging society, and also the impact of the aging society on the insurance and the younger generation, and then they has to pay for the insurance. I'm not so sure whether this is still, or this already in the mind of the policymakers, especially now. We still consider we are young in Southeast Asia. In Europe, the average age is 44. Germany 47. Indonesia 24. Malaysia I don't know. But I think psychologically this number stops deeper discussion on this. I already actually, when I was in Germany, we did some survey research in Europe, and we sent to Indonesia to also to look at this. There are a number of agencies who are looking at it. So it's a very important aspect. I agree with you, Pak. Excellency. I can hear you perfectly.
Very much positive in terms of seeing that 650 million people and Malaysia, Indonesia being the two major member countries are doing a lot of economic and also pushing towards the ASEAN community. But as a diplomat, being a Bangladeshi diplomat, we are connected with ASEAN through a border.
Yeah.
But right now there is no border in part of our country and the Myanmar. The Arakan is now being dominated by a non-state actor. So within the ASEAN system, we know Malaysia is the current chair, and it was Indonesia who proposed and ultimately got the consensus for the 5-point. How you see that with Malaysian chairmanship, how much stability for Myanmar could be brought into, and what country like Bangladesh having a major impact of the displacement of the Rohingya people. So we would like to hear something on that.
Thank you. Myanmar is a very difficult question, but probably I want to give it again another context. Why it's not easy? Probably the only country other than Myanmar in Southeast Asia that has a complex demography is us, Indonesia. We have 300 ethnics. We have 700 different languages. We have 5 recognized religions. We live in such a spread islands. We faced a lot of separatisms in the past. Our nation building went very slow. And in the early 1900s, for instance, when our founding fathers met, there's some intellectuals, they were still young in the 20s. They had a discussion and they asked themselves, if the Dutch would have left Indonesia as colonial powers, then what will we do? Then the answer was very simple, chaos, because we had no similarity whatsoever. So in 1928, we created uniting factors. Number one is geopolitics, which is we, Indonesian, we believe ourselves as a nation of tanah air, land and water. So the waters between our islands is a uniting factor. So the waters are not separating the island, but the water actually unites the island. So that's the thinking. True or not, I don't know, in that time, okay, because they have to find some means, imaginary or otherwise. Second, language. Lingua franca is a very critical aspect in nation building. That is why our leaders, including Bung Karno, chose Malay, because Malay is the least spoken language in Indonesia. So the majority, like myself, Javanese, Ambassador, Javanese, Pak Mirsa, Javanese, Andit, Javanese, we are the majority. Yeah, we we have to learn new language, Ambassador. We have to be humbled to learn new language. So the lingua franca of Indonesia, a country of 300 ethnic, 700 languages, is minority language, which is Malay, become Bahasa Indonesia. And the third one is we are Bangsa Indonesia, we are Indonesian nation, whatever that means. So this was their political decision in 1928. So we always say we are Indonesian first, Japanese later, Muslim or Christian later. So that was the identity that we're trying to build. So not very easy. They have a very long process. And probably this is something that is going on in Myanmar. Okay, different ethnicity, different language, 70 million people, big place. So this is something that we need to work it out. But the point is that I think we need a stable Myanmar, we need a peaceful Myanmar, so that they will not create spillover problems to neighboring countries, to you, to Malaysia, to us, to Thailand, to China, to ASEAN in general. So these are the crux of the issue. So the 5-point consensus basically was trying to approach all the parties' concerns that we should sit together and discuss difficult issues peacefully. ASEAN has a record, Excellency, the Cambodian problems. The Cambodian problem was solved initially with not very many people know by Kelantan declarations. There is a meeting in Kelantan by our foreign minister, Indonesia and Malaysia, and they decided that we should do something to end the Indochina war. The French left. They just left. C'est la vie. C'est un bon problème, just gone. So they started killing each other. The French said bye-bye, adieu. So, but we have to deal with that. So that's why from the Kelantan Declaration, the discussion in Indonesia and Malaysia, we brought in ASEAN together. Then we organized the JIM, Jakarta Informal Meeting. All the party concerned came, and finally we have peace in Indochina. I would say it was more dramatic. I mean, there were 2 million people slaughtered during Cambodian time, Pol Pot. So we hope that our approach with Myanmar could bring yield problem that created peace and stability in the region. So, Ambassador, thank you very much. So I think that should be it, because I'm supposed to finish at 4. No, this is what time now. 3:30. Until what time? Shall we close? So thank you very much once again for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, His Excellency, for an insightful session.